Welcome back everybody! Another build guide for last Epoch. This time around we are playing 1.1 cycle and we are having tons of fun. It has been around 10 months that I've been talking about Disintegrating Aura from Hammer Throw. We finally got it into the patch notes and we got an amazing new unique that can also become a part of a build like that. Aberroth's command, as you can see right here. So this is my Voidknight Auradin. We are using Disintegrating Aura from Hammer Throw and Ravaging Aura from Voidcliff. At the end of the video, there's gonna be gameplay from Aberroth, Tier 4 Julra and Epoch, so that you can see how the build operates. It's a very nice boss killer once you get your tankiness up and running, and a fantastic clear for our Epoch. Now, let's get into it. The main thing that we are using is Hammer Throw Disintegrating Aura. As you can see, every hammer that you are throwing has an aura around it. It does void damage over time. Disintegrating Aura has one of the most weird scaling things in the game. It's a sub skill. It scales with void damage and damage over time and flat throwing damage. So keep that in mind. We're gonna talk about it a lot more later on to the planners, of course, and how you need to gear up and make it very strong. Each aura of the hammers, they overlap together, so area of effect is fairly important. Although we are not scaling in this version, it is an affix that you can get on your gear. The rotation is very simple. You pop your anomaly, you're getting a whole bunch of buffs, more attack speed, more leads, and more cooldown recovery rate. You're using your hammers, getting your auras around you, find an enemy, you hit him once with the Voidcliff, which is also instant because of our scepter, and you're moving around and you're killing anything around you. Volatile reversal, of course, for our single target setup with a very low cooldown, and we are using healing hands at the end game for our traversal skill, a little bit extra recovery. Now, before we get into the planners, do remember to hit the like button and leave me the comments about the build. If you have any questions, of course, I'm happy to always answer them. And let's get into the planners and see what the build is all about. Alright, let's get into the planners and see what we have here. I'm gonna give you two planners as per usual. This is gonna be the initial setup where we're using Sigils of Power, and I'm gonna give you the importation of my own character, of course, as more of an aspirational thing for the end game and a different way in which you can actually get 100% block chance. 100% block chance is always gonna be the goal for this build. It's a very important defensive layer, and you're gonna be almost immortal during echoes. With that, damage over time is still gonna be an issue as it is. We can do nothing about it. We do scale damage over time mitigation, but you know, it's still not gonna be good enough, so you need to be careful damage over time. Alright, important affixes. We need to make something clear here that Disintegrating Aura from Hammer Throws, as I said earlier, it scales from flat throwing damage, damage over time, and void damage. And the Ravaging Aura from the Voidcliff scales with vitality. It also scales with void damage and void damage over time, but vitality gives you more flat damage for the Ravaging Aura. So we need all of those affixes in our gear. Flat throwing damage you can get on amulet, on rings with the minus mana cost, which is super important. Tier 6 or tier 7 is mandatory, and on gauntlets. We are getting our flat throwing damage over here. As you can see, on the gauntlets and on the amulet, you need tier 6 eventually, and on your belt. It's the highest amount of damage that you can get out of those pieces. Very good indeed, and it's gonna boost your Disintegrating Aura a lot. Other than that, throwing attack speed, super important for the build. We cannot take advantage of Blade Master right here from Sentinel because we are using a scepter and not a sword or an axe, so we need to compensate for our attack speed. Very important, second prefix on your rings and or your gauntlets, throwing attack speed. Other than that, there are some amazing body armors and helmet implicit that we can get. The one is in the Apocalypse plate, which is echo damage when the skill echoed, and also stun avoidance. Stun avoidance is fairly important here because we are getting the hybrid stun avoidance on our belt and on our amulet. Do not sleep on those affixes, they are super important. You're gonna get a good amount of stun avoidance in the build in general. I've hit 1800. Even on Aberroth fights, I'm not getting stunned, which is super good, and it's gonna help you a lot, especially on bossing. Now the Leonine Great Helmet has reduced damage bonus taken from crits, and same with our Citadel boots, so we are capping our crit avoidance there. There is a different helmet that you can go. It's Terror Crown. If you have a fortification somewhere into your gear, you can go for this one. It's gonna give you more vitality and more echo damage. Both of them are pretty fantastic, whichever you find. Now, our helmet and our body armor are fairly similar. We need health as much as possible, increased void damage over time as one of our prefixes, and vitality as one of the other prefix here. The shield, as much block stance as you can get. You can get health, endurance. Also, as a suffix, you can get all resistances onto a shield. So keep that in mind. If you need a little bit of help to cap your resistances, it's very, very useful. This is the first build that I actually took advantage of the vitality changes that giving poison and necrotic resistance. We are hitting about 50-55 vitality very, very, very easily, just with 2 tier 5s on our gear right here. And because we are getting the blessing for all resistances with a max roll, you're basically capping your necrotic and poison resistance from your vitality, so you don't need it on your gear. It's a very good thing. Relic, this is not mandatory, but it is fantastic to get. Code of an Erased, it gives you +1 to all sentinel levels. This is not that important, but extra armor and the armor mitigation for damage over time is fantastic. You will need to level up a few of those and try to hit your hammer throw levels. Even +2 can work, but as many levels as you can get on your hammer throw is good. Otherwise, any exalted with tier 6 or tier 7 is okay. We have some really nice bases. Dread Banner is very good because we are getting more void damage. You can get some resistances if you need them. You can get some block from Solar Banner. So there are plenty of relics. It's pretty flexible there, and you can see whatever fits better into your build. I've tried Code of an Erased. I love it. It took me a few tries, but I finally hit my hammer throw levels, and it's pretty fantastic. Now, let's get into the skills and talk about them. I haven't put the extra levels from the Code of an Erased intentionally here. I will explain where you are getting the extra levels though into your tree. As you can see, we do have progression on our skill trees so that you know what you're doing while you're starting the build. Keep in mind, for hammer throw, we need the minus mana cost from Ballista and from here as well. If you ever see early on that you have mana issues, do not take the hammer vortex. So basically the spiral is gonna be casted on your spot, and you're moving on, the spiral stays there and kills everything around it. It's still pretty good. I've played with this integration of the build for a little while. It's not a problem. Once you fix your mana issues, if you have double tier 6s minus mana cost on your throwing, it's gonna be completely fine, and you can go hammer vortex instantly. After that, the extra levels, any extra levels that you're getting on your hammer throw are going into the attack speed. I've already explained why that's important. Void Cleave, we are traveling down here into the Ravaging Aura. We are maxing out the cooldown here, but it is not super important because we have enough duration because of our Scepter, Aberroth command, and you don't need to pop it all the time. We are of course maximizing the flat spell damage and the area here, and we're getting the more multipliers out here and out here. The extra point from Code on the Rest will go on the Abyssal Walker, get a little bit more damage multiplier. If you find yourself at any point early on that you need a little bit more leads, you can put a couple of points on Endless Hunger. It's gonna give you an amazing amount of leads because we are boosting leads in general a lot. Anomaly, very, very standard setup. We are getting the bubble and the duration right here, maximizing attack speed, maximizing cooldown recovery rate. We are getting 2 points on the health leads and 200% increased health leads from when we are having our time bubble. Now, any extra points, they're gonna go into time meter. This point right here, immediacy, is not mandatory. I like it a lot because when you're casting anomaly, for example, on spires during your echoes, they get traveled in time, and I don't like that because you need to press it again. This way, you just press your anomaly and you keep going with your damage. Volatile reversal, of course, very standard setup. One of the most important things into any Sentinel build. Almost extremely high single target out of this. We are getting the double rifts out of here, and we are getting massive more damage multiplier here and here. Cooldown recovery rate from Traveler's Fatigue, and time lost vitality. Now the last node on Volatile Reversal is time lost wisdom. Keep in mind, you will only take once you have solved your mana issues, because early on you might need your Volatile Reversal to also restore your mana into the previous state. If you don't have any mana issues, take it. It's gonna give you 300% cooldown recovery rate. You're basically casting Volatile Reversal less than every 4 seconds. It's fantastic for single target. You don't need it more often because you cannot really cast more often Volatile Reversal on bosses. It's gonna get you into peculiar spots and you're gonna die instantly. So keep that in mind. Any extra points on Volatile Reversal, if you ever get a helmet, they would probably go into the global attack speed here right now. And this one is very, very nice. I like it very much because it gives you extra cooldown recovery rate on hit. Sigils, fairly standard setup. Sigil on kill, extra sigil. We're getting the block and we are converting it into void. This is gonna give you a lot of nice extra void damage out of your sigils. And of course, it's gonna give you 12% block chance and some block effectiveness. Early on is the best thing you can do for your sigils and your block. Now, blessing, fairly straightforward. Black Sun, we are getting this thread for void resistance. We are getting all resistances from Rhine, armor from Spirits of Fire, and you need 8% block chance on this blessing right here. Block effectiveness as high as you can, but the 8% is the best that you can do. Line resistance, this is free, you can take whatever you want. Line resistance usually what we are taking. If you don't have any issue with line resistance, you can take the flat mana. Now idols are also pretty important. These 2x2 add-ons are an extremely good amount of damage for our build. We are getting void damage if echoed recently, which we always have on the prefix and on the suffix. Most importantly, void damage over time, as high roll as possibly you can get on those idols, especially on the suffixes. You need 3 of them. You can put 4 of them, but I do like one of those 1x3s because you can get the prefix for inspiration, and suffix here is a little bit flexible. You can get elemental resistance, you can get health, you can get void damage over time, whatever fits your build. The other idol slots are basically free, just health, any resistance you might need into the build. It's whatever you need for the build so that you can cover everything up. We are scaling tremendous amount of leads on this build. Keep that in mind. As per usual, as a Void Knight, leads is a very important defensive layer into your setup, and of course, because we are still a Void Knight, we don't have a lot of damage mitigation early on. Until you get a few things going, you might feel a little bit squeezy, but after a while, you're gonna feel completely fine. Alright, passive, Sentinel passives, very, very straightforward. Strength and resistances, vitality from here, a little bit damage mitigation here, that's all we get, and 1 point for the block chance. I'm also getting 3 points on the forward guard for the 3 points. This threshold changed this cycle, so you need 3 points here. Paladin is straightforward. We are getting this threshold. You only need 1 point here. You can put the other 4 points on Defiance for extra elemental resistances. If you don't need the resistances, just get the extra block effectiveness. Why not, right? We cannot scale a lot of block effectiveness in general because we are Void Knight and not Paladin, so it's pretty good to get the extra 200, especially when you cap your block. Other than that, a little bit of health. I like this endurance. It is not mandatory. If you get your endurance on your gear, take out those points and distribute them in any vitality, strength, or flat health you can get. You can get more points on valor, you can get holy icon, whatever you like. Voidknight passive tree now. I like 10 points on Abyssal Endurance, always on my build. You cover your void resistance, your physical, and a lot of flat. We are getting the flat throwing damage here, that's the most important part. This does scale your disintegrating aura. I've tested that. I tried removing those points and putting them on the increased void damage, but this still comes on top when it comes to damage, so keep that in mind, and it's very good. Of course, we are getting the leads, maxing out health and strength over here, vitality. This also gives you an important threshold. We are getting more health per vitality, and of course we are getting echo chance here, and I'm maxing out movement speed and void damage. You can get more points in Time Legion if you wish. You will get another 5% echo chance, but I found that 5 is more than enough. I believe that is all. I'm gonna leave you watch the gameplay of the build, but before that, let me show you one more thing here. So when you swap into Healing Hands, you're making it traversal right here, and you're getting immunity frames as well. The best thing about this one is that you are making it cost 0 mana, and you're getting a little bit extra recovery with healing effectiveness. Of course, we are not scaling healing effectiveness ourselves, but we're getting a little bit extra around here. I like Healing Hands as a traverse skill a lot. It has relatively low cooldown, and it is very good. You don't need cooldown recovery rate on your build in general. It's not bad if you can get it for free, but you don't really need it. I only have one tier 1 shield here on my build because our anomaly gives us a cooldown recovery rate. The only thing that we need is basically to have enough cooldown recovery rate for anomaly to have 100% uptime, and we achieve it just by itself, so we are good there. Alright, that is it. I do hope that you enjoyed this build. I had a lot of fun. I theory crafted this before 1.1 after we got the patch notes, and it turned out to be even better than I thought. It really exceeded my expectations, and turned out to be a really cool and fun endgame build as well. Don't expect to push 2000 corruption, of course. It's still a Voidknight. It still has some fundamental issues, but it is a pretty good build. It looks fantastic, and I am hoping that you will enjoy it. I will catch you on the next one. I will leave you to the gameplay. Enjoy the bosses, and see you around, guys. Even if my next character is Circle of Fortune, they can use it. So yeah, making a Circle of Fortune character right now is not about gear. I have plenty of gear. I've been farming quite a bit in 1.1, so yeah. Yeah, farming the favor, man. Farming the favor is probably the worst part. Oh. Okay. That's another good first empowerment. And what's going on? Okay. Oh, I have the... Okay. I need to... Where did this patriarch came from, man? Who summoned you here, huh? You little... Yeah, but like, I don't want to do a level character to Circle of Fortune just for Rune of Creations, right? But we'll see. I don't know. Again, if I'm such a need in creations and I don't have them after I play my Rune Master, maybe the next is gonna be a Circle of Fortune. Probably Paladin. just go bleed Hammer Paladin real quick and obliterate everything and do something like that. I think probably it's gonna be the best thing they can do. We'll see though. I'm kinda, you know, hoping that after my remaster, like after the third character at level 100 especially, I will be okay on creations. Like RNG should at some point, oh my god, I cannot speak. RNG at some time, you know, it should normalize and turn in our favor into that. Falcon and Cold Acid Flask. I'm not a rogue specialist, but I believe a lot of people are playing that build and they're doing it in a good success. The offhand as well is the Catalyst is fairly easy to get with like minimum 2 LP, super easy to get with 2 LP actually. So it's very. It also hits way beyond its hitbox on the ground, by the way.
Turned her back on us. Embrace oblivion. The void hungers. Weak and worthless. The gods tore our world apart. They deserve their fates.
Oh.
We treated the world no better. Death is our legacy. Oblivion. The void comes.
All right.
Weak and worthless.
Alright, good positioning. Not perfect, but good enough.
You fight for nothing. The void hungers. Weak and worthless.
Oh, barely. Ooh! Too much hit there.